Today, we quite happily cancel hookup culture. But I'm not the one canceling it, not by myself anyway. For today, I join hands with pro-abortion feminists in delivering this cancellation. Ironically, the anti-hookup culture cause makes for strange bedfellows. So in response to the termination of Roe v. Wade, the reaction from abortion enthusiasts has stretched across the whorishness spectrum. In many cities around the country, protesters who skimp on clothing but never on meals have defiantly paraded their half-naked bodies around, oftentimes twerking aggressively like some kind of weird and ghastly mating ritual. Here was the scene in Dallas, for example. Check it out. If anything could ever make me mourn the end of Roe, it would be a scene like that. But Roe itself was such a monstrosity that even these sorts of nightmarish spectacles are a cost worth paying. Watching that video, I don't regret that Roe was overturned, but I do perhaps regret that I am not blind. But in any case, here we have women wielding their sexuality as a weapon. It's just not clear what the weapon is supposed to accomplish or what it's supposed to destroy besides their dignity and my appetite. But on the other end of the spectrum, some pro-abortion women have gone an entirely different route. Rather than bending over and presenting themselves to the public like a dog in heat, these women have promised a sex strike. They're saying that they will, for a period of time, or maybe forever, stop having sex with random men in order to punish those random men for the Supreme Court's decision. It's not clear what these men have done to deserve that punishment, but I'm sure they're grateful for it anyway. In one popular video on TikTok, an abortion fan lays out the plan specifically. Listen.
Hear me out. What if we withhold sex? I'm not kidding. What if we use our most powerful protesting option and withhold sex from penises until this is made right?
I love the I'm not kidding part because the idea of withholding sex, of like not having sex or abstaining, to her, it's so, of not having sex with random people all the time. It's so shocking to her that she has to pause. She said, here's an idea. What if we don't have sex for a while? No, seriously, I'm not kidding. Seriously, guys. Withhold sex from penises, she says, because that's how she views the sexual act, as an exchange between two sets of faceless, nameless body parts. The New York Post talked to some protesters at a demonstration in New York City about their sex strike plans, and they all hit on similar themes. Reading now, it says, Big Apple abortion protesters were in support of a sex strike Saturday as abstinence started trending on Twitter in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Quote, if you're a man who won't get a vasectomy, even though it's reversible, and you're not out in the streets fighting for my rights, you don't deserve to have sex with me, Brianna Campbell, a 24-year-old EMT, told the Post. Caroline Healy, a 22-year-old event coordinator, also questioned why sex was more important than women's rights. Quote, I think it's absolutely valid for us to be withholding the holy grail that men seem to think is important, she told the Post. Quote, women of America, take the pledge. Because SCOTUS overturned Roe v. Wade, we cannot take the risk of an unintended pregnancy. Therefore, we will not have sex with any men, including our husbands, unless we are trying to become pregnant, one Twitter user wrote. I live in New York, quote, and I am double furious with the Supreme Court. I want to find people who are coordinating a mass sex strike. That is our power, one woman raged. Quote, women have the power here. No more sex until abortion rights are federal law. Another said, quote, perhaps a sex strike, also known as abstinence, would help the menfolk to be all in on the women's rights issue. Well, I am a manfolk, and I can say that your decision to abstain from sex in response to overturning Roe definitely does not make me lament the overturning of Roe. It is rather a significant bonus. This is like getting upgraded to first class and then finding a $100 bill under your seat. Okay, this is again upside upon upside, win upon win, and we're not done winning yet. Because back on TikTok, the pro-abortion luminaries of that app have been even more explicit about their ultimate intentions. Reading from an article on Insider, published a few weeks before the Roe decision was officially announced, it says, quote, some women say they will deny casual sex if they do not have abortion rights after news broke that the Supreme Court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. Quote, in case you're a man who doesn't care about Roe v. Wade, just know that if abortion gets banned, hookup culture will be absolutely decimated. According to one TikTok user, which has received more than 1.2 million views in a single day, Quote, what woman would have mediocre sex with a drunk rando if he could potentially father their child, she continued, noting that the video is directed at all the pro-life men who love Plan B. The clip drew more than 263,000 likes and more than 3,100 comments, with many users agreeing with her assessment. Quote, OMG, I'm entering my celibacy era, a user commented below, to which the video creator replied that she had the same thought the second the news came out. Quote, we all need to collectively agree to never touch another man again if it gets overturned. Another user declared that they were deleting all dating apps as we speak. And in another video, which received 12,000 views, fitness influencer Nikki Cox said that the debate surrounding Roe v. Wade isn't just for women. Quote, since about 75% of men only care about sex and money, I hope they know this Roe v. Wade decision could destroy hookup culture and leave them paying 18 years of child support, she wrote. Now, one thing you'll notice is that over the past few days, the pretense has been completely dropped. Abortion advocates are no longer pretending that abortion is anything but a form of birth control. Of course, prior to the overturning of Roe, they bristled at the suggestion that anyone would ever use abortion as birth control. Now, amid their hysteria, they've forgotten about that talking point altogether. And that's for the best, because abortion, in the lion's share of cases, has been used as a means to divorce sex from its natural consequences, otherwise known as birth control. This has been the left's primary undertaking, its animating principle, its great commission. I think quite possibly this is, more than anything else, the core of leftism itself, and that is the desire to reduce sex down to its mere physical sensations. They want to remove everything from the sexual act except the physical pleasure. Everything else goes away. Take away love, take away joy, devotion, fidelity. They want intimacy without intimacy. Take away commitment, familiarity, emotional fulfillment. And most of all, or at least first of all, they seek to strip from sex its life-giving capacities. The problem they always run into, though, is that it's not actually possible to permanently remove all of those things from sex. And if ever they do encounter somebody, usually a man, who's actually achieved the goal of engaging in the sexual act without any emotions or any sense of responsibility or any commitment at all wrapped up into it, they'll hate that man and organize a Me Too mob to come after him. Because as usual, they don't much like the Frankensteins they've created. But in most cases, totally emotionless and consequence-free sex is an illusion. The attempt to neuter sex in this way, to turn it into a meaningless interaction between nameless sets of sex organs, just creates a mass orgy of confusion and despair, otherwise known as hookup culture. And yet, even though hookup culture utterly fails to make anybody happy, and instead succeeds in making everyone lonely and miserable, it was still able to linger on as long as it had abortion as its failsafe. Because abortion was supposed to be sort of the fortress defending the individual from the natural results of their own choices. Meanwhile, inside that fortress, everybody is sad and confused and leading small, pathetic, self-centered little lives. But that's the way it was set up. And now the fortress has been weakened. There are cracks and gaps all around where consequence in the form of new life can rush in. Some pro-abortion people have decided that the only way forward is to abandon the fortress completely. Give up on hookup culture. Stop trying to have sex without consequence. And this is the right response, even if they don't have the right motivations behind it. And who knows? Maybe if they give up on hookup culture, then they'll discover that what they were trying to protect themselves from is much better than what they were trying to protect. Perhaps they'll abandon their pursuit of consequence-free, loveless, pointless sex and learn to embrace the alternative. And the alternative is not celibacy, but a committed, faithful relationship with another human being who you know and love and who you've devoted yourself to through the bonds of marriage and to whom you can give yourself fully and completely without fear or reservation. And when you encounter the natural consequence of sex, the formation of a new human life, you'll learn to see it not so much as a consequence, but as a blessing and a gift. With this perspective and this attitude of true acceptance, you'll also experience what is known as joy, which is something that you'll never find in hookup culture, which is, anyway, today, canceled. Well, before you go, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And while you're at it, if you want to go watch or listen to my full show, head to dailywire.com and subscribe. You can also catch my show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. So go check it out now. I demand it. Your compliance is somewhat appreciated.